Good morning, everyone. It's Mrs. O here, and today we're going to talk about the Cold War. Now, the previous lesson we had before was on the Cold War, an intro, just going over the overview of what it was about. We discussed the arms race and the space race, but today we're going to specifically talk about the arms race. Now, before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that most of the information comes from Duxer.com. So let's get started. So, what was the arms race during the Cold War? So, it was a nuclear arms race between the Soviet Union and the US. Both spent billions of dollars trying to build up a stockpile of nuclear weapons. Near the end of the war, Soviet Union was spending nearly 27% of its nation's income on the military, and this was crippling their economy. So, it also helped to end the war. So the nuclear bomb, we've talked about those before. So the US was the first to develop a nuclear bomb during World War II. US ended the war with Japan by dropping a nuclear bomb on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And it's an extremely powerful weapon that can destroy an entire city and kill tens of thousands of people. Neither side wanted to engage in a nuclear war that could destroy much of the civilized world. So this is what was going on. And that picture just shows you the mushroom cloud that comes from a nuclear bomb. So the start of the arms war. So in 1949, the Soviet Union successfully tested its first atomic bomb. The world was shocked by it. But in 1952, the US detonated its first hydrogen bomb. Now, this was also a nuclear bomb, but it was more powerful than the first one. And the arms race actually began. So if you look at this chart, you can kind of see how different bombs were created and the extent of their power. You can see the average commercial airline flight, so an airplane and the altitude they fly, you can see how much higher the expansion of a nuclear bomb would be. So you can see it starts from 20,000 to the bottom and around 200,000 feet at the top. So intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs. In the 1950s, both countries worked on ICBMs. Now, these missiles could be launched from long range as far as 3,500 feet away. People built bomb shelters and underground bunkers because they could hide there just in case of a nuclear attack. Now, underground facilities also were built for high-ranking government officials. So, yes, there are underground bunkers for like the president and other important officials. And then, of course, there had to be wealthy people who could actually create underground bunkers for themselves. So defense. So the fear of what would happen if war actually broke out because of all of these nuclear weapons everywhere, it kind of went all across the world. People didn't know what would happen if it actually did occur. So militaries began to work on defenses such as large radar arrays. Now these basically could detect if missiles were launched from another opposing nation. So they worked on defense missiles that could also shoot down an ICBM or missile that would maybe be coming towards them. So mutual assured destruction, MAD. So both sides could destroy the other in case of an attack. That was the agreement. So if someone else fired, both sides could attack, and the other country could retaliate and destroy the country that struck first. Okay, so neither side ever wanted to use nuclear weapons because the cost would be too high. If multiple nations are firing off multiple nuclear weapons, potentially it could destroy the whole entire world. That's what the belief is. So other countries involved were um, Great Britain, France, the People's Republic of China, and they developed their own nuclear weapons. So that now you have other nations involved. If you look at this chart, of course, Russia and the U.S. definitely had a higher inventory of nuclear weapons, but the other countries had them too. So imagine if all of these weapons went off or nuclear bombs went off at the same time. So arms reduction talks. Now, because it was becoming very expensive in the 1970s, we talked about the Soviet Union using 27% of their national gross just to make these weapons in the military. The different countries started to talk softer towards each other, actually began to negotiate and basically have kind of almost like peace talks. In order to slow down the arms race, the countries agreed to reduce the arms through something called the SALT 1 and SALT 2 agreements. Now, SALT is an acronym that stands for Strategic Arms Limitation Talks. So, no, they realized that this was too expensive and very dangerous. So at the end of the arms race came to an end with the collapse of the Soviet Union at the end of Cold War in 1991, and it's estimated that by 1961 there were enough bombs to destroy the entire world. So a lot of peace talks about, let's end this arms race, not the human race, it destroyed the whole world. But this is basically what the arms race was about. So at the end of this, there will be a short quiz as always. Make sure you hit submit at the end. I will definitely update your grades today. I hope you enjoyed this talk. Love you guys, miss you guys, and take care.